Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's Devin Thomas back with another episode of Unscripted. It's been a good week. It's been a busy week. It's been a productive week. I've actually gotten quite a bit done. This past week's really been a lot of thinking, a lot of writing, a lot of just focusing on wellness, which is good. I feel like this week just blew by. I feel like a lot happened, but it was just like that, you know? The whole week just ran away from me, but yeah, I guess I'll do a little Stevie health update. He's doing better. He got this stomach smooth shit that he's been taking, and it's like organic, and it's been helping him like settle his stomach and fucking feel better. And he's kind of just had like the stomach issue, I guess, is like the real thing. But he's really on the mend. He's been better than ever. This guy's been eating fucking Foster's Freeze every single day, cheeseburger, milkshake. Today he even did fries, but I mean like pretty much just eating like Foster's Freeze. And still staying like, health-wise, he should probably throw on some pounds just because, this sickness, because his stomach, it's made it hard for him to eat and keep weight on. But like, fuck, man. This guy can eat and nothing happens to him. And it's amazing. He's, I wouldn't say freak of nature, but man, he's built different. It's unbelievable. But anyways, he's doing better. He can fucking eat. So, that's usually a good sign someone's feeling good. What else have I been up to? Just been planning, writing. I wrote a nice little short this week. It's pretty, here's the deal. When I go out to shoot like something short form, and I'll tie this in also to like Let Depot and other stuff, but like when you start shooting something short form, you're always like, what can I do? This is maybe just my philosophy actually. I like to think about how can I make something like quickly, because I don't like to spend too much time in production. Not even too much time, but like time is valuable. And I think it's important to go like into a project knowing like I can execute this. Doesn't mean rush it, but that means like have it so you're confident going in that like I know I can complete this. I think that's a good thing to do, and it's a nice little, measure to live by, I guess, when you're going into a project. But anyways, besides the point, I wrote this short. It's pretty much it would just be Stevie, maybe another actor in the beginning, and then someone on the phone. And it's simple, but yeah, it's something that I could go out and shoot. And then also, like I said, like to tie it into Let Depot, it's like we want to start making content based around like also pushing like the LUTs and stuff. Like full disclosure, that's like, some like good way to like co-brand, like not only our art, but also like pushing the LUTs. But it's just so much better when we could take like this short film and then break it down, not only talk about like how it was made, how it was colored, how we saved time coloring it as well. And just, I don't know, just discuss like a project. Sometimes like test footage is fine. And we're going to take test footage. We always will. It's just something you do when you have cameras and you're into fucking film. You just start filming shit every day. We always, with the exception of pretty much the last like 10 months, we always are just filming shit. Backyard, get the camera out, hot day, let's film. Nighttime, we're going to go on a cruise, let's just bring the camera. Just how we are, right? I think other filmmakers could agree to that. But, while building, content with a brand, it's going to be important to push, videos that go a little bit further than that. So that's something I'm looking forward to doing, is not just like short films, but, content that has like a little bit more of a meaning with it. So yeah, that'll be good. In the short film, I don't want to give anything away because it's like so short. It's just like, it's not worth discussing the plot here. But yeah, I'm going to do that. What else are we going to do? I'm revisiting the script. I think I talked about it last week, the script harmony I have written. I'm going to go back and kind of draft and like, I guess what I want to do is just beef it up a little bit. It's a good 90 pages. It's solid. Like the script's great. It's like, to a T, in my opinion, like, not even Hollywood beat sheet, but like it's just a nice 90 minutes. Like you're going to feel like the movie went by like that. And I just feel like it could have a little bit more depth, a little bit more like, we just watched, and I'll talk about this movie later, Saving Private Ryan, amongst some other really great movies. But older films in particular, they let you really spend time with the characters. They let it breathe. You could just like hang out with them. You didn't have to like feel like everything was just going scene to scene to scene, like just plot, action. Like, there were scenes in Saving Private Ryan where it was just like them hanging out. And I don't want to talk about it too much because I want to talk about that movie later down the line. But I think that's something I even was thinking about before going back to draft harmony. I was like, God, I feel like the characters are good. We just don't see them that we're with them for too little. Let's give them a little bit more life. Even if it's another 20 minutes of the movie where we like have moments with them or get to know the characters just a bit more. I think it'll add a little bit more. It'll add depth, and then also like it'll make you care a little bit more about these people. Because if you see people so quickly and you don't really get to know them, it's not even like you won't remember them, but like trying to think of another movie. Like if you've ever seen a movie like A Knight's Tale, the Heath Ledger film. I can't remember the guy who made it, but he's a fantastic director. He's made some just hits, or maybe it's the writer, but either way, like A Knight's Tale, you spend enough time with those characters to really fall in love with all of them. You care about all of their outcomes. You care about what happens to them. You are invested in them. And I think that's something that even going into like, this is going to be more of a dramedy, like romantic with, drama. And it's important to still give those characters that little extra. It makes you fall in love with them. There's a lot of great movies where they just give you a little bit more. Like, I mentioned this movie often too, but like The Holiday, the Nancy Meyers film. You spend time with like Kate Winslet and Jack Black and Jack Black's lover in the movie, and then also like the old man that Kate Winslet's hanging out with, and then Jude Law and their extended friend group over in Europe or England, wherever the hell they are. It all adds to the depth of all the characters and the whole plot, and it makes you feel like these characters are more than just. It makes, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I guess what I'm trying to say is it makes it feel like it's more than just plot driven for the sake of these characters are doing these things and it's just bling 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 like through the fucking plot. You feel like you're hanging out with them, and it's almost voyeuristic. What is it, cinema verita, like where fly on the wall. It's very cool. It's very cool, and I think that's something that like movies should have. That I don't even know if it's a chill out factor, but they should just have those like beats that are just, they let it breathe. They let the movie have a moment to kind of just let you sit with it. It doesn't have to be for the sake of entertainment solely, or solely for the fucking purpose of pushing the plot along. It's just a moment, and life has moments, and I think maybe that's why great films like Saving Private Ryan have moments in where they just let it breathe like that. So anyways, moving forward, I guess I'd say that's probably like the script that's at the top of the stack. I'm going to keep writing. I'm just going to start writing like voraciously again. I feel like I've not even been on hiatus. I've written all along. It's just, I know last year I was at a place where I was writing like a couple scripts a month, and I know I can get back to that place. I just need a little time to recharge the battery, but I'm back. I'm in full fucking force. I'm ready to make a ton of fucking videos, short films, content, write, and most importantly, make a feature film. Like my goal is always like get to the feature film. But in between all that, I'm staying busy. So, and that's the other thing too. Like January is like, I think it's the worst month of the year. It's just boring. It's slow. Thankfully, it's almost over. But it's a month that if you can just keep yourself busy and get through, you will fucking like, I think it sets a tone for the rest of the year. So that's what I've been trying to do. Is just really, I don't know, set a tone for the rest of the year. So anyways, yeah, Harmony's at the top of the stack, and there's other ideas in there too, but we'll see what happens. I like to keep my options open. Stevie actually met some like screenwriters through his acupuncturist of all people, and they are like, they've written like 30 or 40 films for Netflix, and that's just another, like avenue connection. You don't know, like I might be able to talk with them and work with them as well. I think we're going to all go out to dinner or something and hang out and just, talk shop. But like, doors open, things changed, a year ago. I'm sure I have a pod on here where I talk about it. I was going to go make this movie with this guy who had made like this California Christmas movie on Netflix, like one of the most viewed movies on Netflix, because like we had the script, everything was set up. And then of course, things can always change. But I think that's like kind of how you have to view entertainment business in between all these deals and like things maybe or maybe not happening. Just stay busy, stay on the grind, right? So that's what I've been doing, trying to stay on the grind even when we're in the slowest month of the year. So anyways, I did watch some good movies this week. The first movie I want to talk about is The Running Man, Edgar Wright's latest film. I don't know if you're familiar with Edgar Wright. He's done, like Shaun of the Dead, Last Night in Soho. What's that other movie? Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. He's done a ton of shit. Was it World's End? Tons of movies. You can look him up. He's a, hit filmmaker, and I'm sure most of you are familiar with him. But anyways, The Running Man, it's a remake, or I guess reboot. What would you call it? I guess it's a reboot of that old Schwarzenegger film from the 80s. And it was interesting. Really well made. Obviously, Edgar Wright spares no expense, and he's an excellent director. I think his name speaks for itself. But yeah, if you don't know the plot, basically, it's in like near future. Glenn Powell plays this guy who's in dire straits. He's got a kid. He's got a wife who's working and carrying the weight of the finances. He can't get a job because he's blacklisted for what seems like he tried to sue the corporations, and they're like, hey, like, fuck you. We're not employing you anymore. So anyways, he's a desperate, right? And he decides to go down to this like TV network and join the show called The Running Man. And The Running Man is basically like a life or death show. You try and hide in public, And if you get found, people can participate in the game, send your picture in, whatever, win cash. And the price you pay is if you get caught, you die. If you don't get caught, you win $1 billion, right? Or billion ND, whatever their finance or currency was. Anyways, I won't ruin the movie. You can watch it. It's a nice little action adventure. It's good, but it's just interesting. Glenn Powell is I don't think he's controversial at all, but I think some people are, you either love him or fucking hate him. That's how I feel. Some people are just like, I just can't stand him. And some people are like, oh no, Glenn Powell's cool. I've been watching Glenn Powell for years. I know he's in like Spy Kids 3D. I didn't know that at the time, obviously, when I saw it as a kid, but like, that's a big movie that a lot of people would go back and like, oh, he's been in cinema for so long. I agree. He was in a great Richard Linklater film, Everybody Wants Some, and he plays a baseball player, and it's just, he's so genuine in that film. So like when I see him in like these even like more like mainstream roles, I still think back to like, well, Glenn Powell, like, yeah, he might be this like mainstream commodity now, like, you know, the stereotypical or prototypical lead male at the moment, but he is a talented actor underneath whatever fucking, you know, opinion people may have on him. And I think a movie like The Running Man actually landed very well for him. I think he was able to play this character without feeling like it was too forced. Like I watched Twisters. I don't even want to bash on Twisters. I just wasn't like, I just like couldn't connect with it. And it's not even bad. Maybe I'll give it another chance. But like there's some movies where, you know, you see an actor like Anyone But You. Like I like the idea of Anyone But You, but the actual movie itself seems so ridiculously on the nose. Like it was so self-aware. It was a little too like, you know, fucking, hey, like you get the joke. It's like, yeah, I get the fucking joke. Can we just have like a narrative? Like, let's just enjoy the movie and not make it like there was so much, like there was so little show and so much tell. Like there was this one like supporting character that would come into Glenn Powell and like be like, hey, like, oh man, like it looks like you two broke up. Is everything okay? I'm like, why are you, this is like, there's no fucking like, it felt lifeless. It felt like just trying to be funny, which is the worst type of funny. You know, funny should be organic and natural, and it just, I don't know, it didn't work as a whole. There's moments where I was like, okay, I could see this being like the mainstream hit they want it to be, and it did make a lot of money, but I think it's because people wanted it to be something it wasn't, and it should have been something else, but I digress. The Running Man, on the other hand, was very much of what it should have been. You know, near future, you know, dystopian future, adventure movie where, you know, the desperate guy gets caught up in the corporation conspiracy and he actually gets close to winning the game, and you know he kind of exposes corruption while trying to provide for his family. You know, it's a great timeless theme, right? And how the house kind of always wins to some extent, but there, you know, there's ambiguity there for even that. But yeah, his character was good, just a pissed off guy who is down to his bottom dollar and he'll do anything to get out and to save his family. And I don't know, it was stylistic. Excellent CGI, excellent set pieces. It was just well made, I think, on first and foremost. And yeah, I think it was in theaters, but I think I watched it on Prime. Maybe it was on Paramount Plus. And for what it's worth, it was good. It's not my favorite movie. It's not the type of movie I'd probably like throw on all the time. But if you saw it and you had to watch it, you'd be like, okay, it's good. It's good. Anyways, I won't even give it a numerical rating. I just think, you know what? Watch it if you want something like that. It was not bad. It surprised me because sometimes, like, you know, I think the reason it surprised me is because movies have been so bad lately. And also I think, you know, Netflix, which I don't want to bash on Netflix because, you know, who wouldn't want to work with Netflix? But I think the problem is there's just so much quantity, so little quality. I did also hear Matt and Ben talking on Joe Rogan. They're talking about how Netflix provides like the metadata to show like, hey, like here's when people are tuning in or tuning out of your show, or like here's the moments where people are, you know, this, and that. And it's like, you know, for years we had great hit movies and we didn't have this information, and movies worked out to be just fine. You know, nobody was watching The Mummy. I mean, sure, they did screen tests probably back in the 90s, but like what I'm saying is like nobody's watching The Mummy and being like, yeah, people are tuning out at this moment. Like, fucking, the rest of it's a disaster. It's like, well, maybe the movie just has a moment. And people take it for what it is because you can't really change that. It's what the intent of the creator was, or everybody thought, like, hey, that feels right. And like I said, I think a lot of this filmmaking and art is just, it's feel. You know, I've edited a feature film. Stevie and I have both edited a feature film. And, like, when we were editing it together, we were talking about how, like, this is all based off of feeling. Like we threw out all the notions we had about film editing before. We obviously used our history and our knowledge and our experience, but it just changed because you're like, you know, you're doing it solely for like, how can we craft the moment, get the feeling we want out of this. And yeah, I think that's something that might be just like a little lost right now. Movies need to have that. And I think Netflix That's their biggest problem. They're not a bad company. I think they'll do good with Warner's buying it, and I'm hoping that, they continue to make great stuff. But we need to think about, movies having that compelling factor that maybe like, or not even compelling factor so much as just having like this, what a movie is. It doesn't need to be science. It is art. And even the big blockbusters, it's artistic. And we don't need to just, I think maybe having all that information sometimes can actually hurt rather than help. Because like a movie, it's an organic experience, right? It's a human experience. We don't need, it's like trying to make a movie with just math. It's like Moneyball for movies. That's Netflix. They're like, well, if we can just do this and do that, it's like art isn't meant to be fully figured out. You know it when you fucking feel it. And that's all I'm saying. I'm talking about a feel. And maybe Netflix should think about that. Now, the next movie I'm going to talk about is actually a Netflix original film with a partnership with Artist Equity, right? The Rip, 2026. Joe Carnahan, directed by Joe Carnahan, written and directed, starring Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. Now, Joe Carnahan is interesting. I heard Matt and Ben also talking on Joe Rogan about this guy and how Ben did a movie with him years before called Smoking Aces. I'm actually familiar with the film. I used to watch it all the time. I remember it had Jeremy Piven as this like magician, and it's in Lake Tahoe. It was very strange because it felt close to home despite being, these major stars. And yeah, his movie Smoking Aces was good. I always, even as a kid, thought like, that one was a little different. It was original and it had its own tone. It was dark and it was gritty, kind of like a coke-fueled hitman thriller with this, casino gambler magician guy all in the middle. So it was interesting, but the Rip itself was actually really refreshing. The movie was like, I'll say this, like different movies and different genres, they have expectations, The Rip was a very contained thriller. It took place in one evening with a group of people, maybe 2 evenings. There's a cold open that takes, I think, place the night before, but let's just say it's basically a one night movie. And this guy did something similar with Smoking Aces. It was all at a hotel. There's some setup, some scenes outside of it, but it all took place at this hotel in Lake Tahoe, and all the hitmen were coming to that place to get this one guy in the penthouse. And he kind of did the same thing here. He had these guys, group of cops that work in a unit that sees called TNT, tactical narcotics team or something, right? They bust drug money. It's a Friday night. They're supposed to be off the clock, and they all decide to, or Matt Damon basically tells everybody, like, hey, we're going to go rip off this drug house, a stash house. And nobody wants to go. And on the way there, he's a little sus. He tells everybody a different number, and he kind of confuses everyone. And everyone starts thinking he's this dirty cop who wants to steal this money. And when they get there, they find a large sum of money, and that's when they start thinking, like, maybe he wants to take it. I won't ruin the plot for you. You should watch the film yourself, but the setup is basically, are these guys going to rip off this money that they found, this huge bust, or not? And could they get away with it, kind of? And, like, who would be really held accountable? And it was just good. There's a nice plot twist. It's got good tension. It's the kind of movie that I would throw on at, like, honestly, this movie would have been a great summertime release, because I feel like it's the type of movie you'd watch during the summer, like an action movie, end of the day, fucking hanging out, no worries. You're like, you know what? I just want to watch a little fucking flick that'll just take my mind off things. It had that like chill out feeling, if that makes sense. And there's some movies like where I want it to be just so engaging and so like, and actually I take that back. This movie was very engaging. It blew by. I guess if I was even just like more like just chilling and watching it, I wouldn't feel like it was so demanding. Like say like Saving Private Ryan was a quite demanding film. It demanded a lot of your emotion. This movie was less about emotion than like actually entertaining and gripping, which was good. And yeah, it was probably one of the better action movies I've seen in a bit. And also for Netflix, I hate to say it was one of their better original films. And I do think that's mostly because Matt and Ben's company, Artist Equity, did probably make the movie. I think personally this movie was made to Netflix standards, but made without them being so involved. Maybe Netflix money and then Artist Equity actually producing the film and bringing it back and be like, here's what we got. Which isn't crazy, but I'm saying rather than like from Netflix top down, like, corporate producer, etc., trying to be like, hey, like this is how we're going to make it. And it was really good. It was very well done. Entertaining, good cast, eclectic kind of crew movie where you get to know all the characters just enough as well. We spend enough time with the characters in the movie where you care about everyone's ending and like outcome and how everyone ends up. And you get the emotional investment, even in characters that you might not think are going to maybe be bad or good. I don't know. It felt like the movie really just like it felt like a movie. Most important thing. I guess maybe that's the fucking theme of this episode is feel. Because The Rip most definitely felt like an action movie. It felt contemporary, modern, but it had a classic feel. It felt like it could have come out in 2006 or 2010. One of these older 2000s movies that was just good. It's an easy ride. You enjoy it. The twist was good. It gives you everything you'd want in a movie like this. It's no Die Hard. It's not like going to be the most groundbreaking action movie ever, but very, very fucking good action film. Very engaging, good script. Loved it. And I hope they keep making movies like this, even if it's just allows them to make more movies. Here's the deal. People always say they're tired out. Maybe not Matt and Ben, but some actor, they've been in too much shit. You're going to miss them when they're gone. When they're either too old or they've retired or they've gone away or their moment's passed. You're going to want as many of them as you can watch. I saw Sandler say, don't worry, guys. I'm going to make 50 more movies. It was one of his quotes from one of these red carpets. And it made me so happy because I'm like, you know what? There is no limit to how many movies he not only should make, but that people will want. How many wouldn't you want to have as many Adam Sandler movies as possible to choose from after he's gone? I think so, because those movies are comforting and they're so good. And it's I love Matt and Ben's work. It'd be great to see them make 10 more fucking movies. If Netflix is a guy who wants to write the check and make these things happen, as long as they do what they did here and keep it quality, I think that's great. And I think that's, and once again, I'm not critiquing. I'm just saying they're fucking talented guys. These guys make hit fucking film. I'm saying I love that they were able to make something really great with Netflix. And Netflix can continue to make great shit as long as they, work with great filmmakers and set a precedent that they're not going to just make shit based on metadata, just metric alone. I think that's the thing. Keep it human. Keep the heart in there. The Rip, though, 10 out of 10. I loved it. Thought it was a great film. And I think this Joe Carnahan will have a very, very good career. I think this is going to be a huge movie for him. I know he's done some other stuff. He's a notable guy. He's out there. But I think he's just going to be even bigger and better. And I think Netflix will definitely have him back to do another film. There was that other Ben Affleck movie. On one last note, was it Triple Frontier? I think it was. It had oh god, all the faces in it at the time. Oscar Isaac, our boy from The Mandalorian, Pedro Pascal, some other gentleman in it. I can't remember, but even that was an exciting movie because the cast was such big names. I might have been 2020, maybe even earlier, 2019 or 2018. But it was an exciting early Netflix original because I was excited about the cast and I was excited about where they could take this thing. And that was a good movie for what it's worth as well. But besides the point, Netflix occasionally has a good movie, and maybe it also comes down to who's in it, some of the talent that they're recruiting. So you get good talent, you get a good result. Not every time, but a lot of the time. All right, moving on. Saving Private Ryan, 1998. Director Steven Spielberg. I don't have the writer's name written down, but he's the same guy who wrote The Patriot. This guy is a phenomenal writer. His scripts are fucking just so authentic and so good. This guy he's world class, and I will find his name and mention it next week because I don't have it written down here. I'm pretty sure I don't have it written down. No, I don't. What a shame. Wish I could fucking look it up. But anyways, the movie stars Tom Hanks. If you haven't seen it, surprise, Matt Damon's in it as well. We've been on kind of a Damon Ben Affleck kick lately. Tom Sizemore, Eddie Burns, Vin Diesel, Adam Goldberg, Giovanni Ribisi. The list goes on. God, who else was fucking in this thing? Paul Giamatti. Everyone's in this fucking movie. I think at the time there was an excitement around Saving Private Ryan that if you were a young Hollywood actor, if you could get into this movie, it was going to be a big deal for you. It was going to be something that was not just a vehicle, but something that could actually take you take you to the next level in terms of being just seen. Because even a small role in this movie, the screen time, you're up against such big names and with such a big director. Everyone's going to see it, and especially back then when people would actually go to a theater and watch a movie. It must have been exciting, and you could feel that. There's this authenticity to the film because it felt exciting to just be there. I don't need to explain every beat of Saving Private Ryan. The opening, fucking incredible. If you haven't seen it, just the whole full circleness of the plot as well, starting with kind of the frame story angle at the beginning with this guy at the cemetery. I believe it's in Normandy, the military cemetery, and then cutting back to the moment of the D-Day invasion, and at the end cutting back to that moment at the cemetery. It was just so full circle. Very, very well done. Spielberg also, something I really loved about this movie, he wasn't worried about the operation of the camera being too perfect. The image is beautiful, and there's interesting techniques used, but he was okay with the camera bouncing around. Felt like it was always on a shoulder rig. It never felt like he was locked into something. Maybe some tripod shots here and there, sure, but like it was gritty, authentic. You felt like you were fucking there. It was chaotic. The way the camera bounced around and just it chased things and went here and there. And like there's like a scene where some guy throws like a grenade and the camera tries to follow the grenade in the sky and it kind of like lands and it's just boom, like it's just chaotic. And it was just so well done. And Stevie made a good point too. We were watching and he said, he's like, it feels like he's not worried about this being the most glamorous. Like the shots weren't all about beauty as much as function. I'm like, yeah, it's like almost like, this is where it happened or like where this would have happened. Maybe it's not the most beautiful place or maybe like it's just the framing and composition didn't need to be so, I don't know, like it felt unpolished despite being like masterful, if that makes sense. And it had just real grit to it. And also being shot on 35, there's a softness that you can't get on digital, in my opinion. Maybe with post-production, sure, you could soften it up, but there's also this like grain distortion where, the light breaks up against the celluloid. It's just so fucking different than digital. And it is something that makes those old movies have this palpable feel that they're maybe a little bit more, I don't want to call it real because digital can feel real too, but there's just, it makes it feel like a movie. And once again, I'm talking about feeling a lot, but like 35 has this feeling when you watch it that it feels very movie. And that goes into a lot of my school thought on filmmaking as well as like different sensors, 35 millimeter sensor, or do I want to use a super 35 or do I want to use just this like full frame? I'm not saying you can't use the either or and get great results, but it makes you think and it makes you think about lensing like, do I want to use this type of lens where I'm going to get a little bit more like sharp clinical look, or do I want something that's going to have a little bit more soft and organic look to it? It makes you start to think. And even Spielberg at that time, I'm sure it was easier to achieve these looks because it was literally shooting on film, obviously premium optics, no doubt. I'm not saying it was easier. I'm just saying like to achieve the look of making it feel just like a movie was probably just more available. Then now, as great as technology is, sometimes it could feel less like a movie because of the medium we're shooting on. But that's just like, just saying in general, 35 millimeter film looks beautiful in this movie. It was important, obviously, that it was shot on this. I don't think they were going to shoot something digital at the time. I don't think it was there yet. But my point more so is that it was authentic to even the time of, maybe World War II. I'm sure 35 was around in the 40s. But my point more so is just that it felt gritty. It felt real. Even the camera, there were scenes where they were just letting shit get all over the lens, sand and dirt and blood and like water even in some scenes. It was incredible. It was just so, it puts you there. That first opening scene is just fucking masterful. And it takes you into what this World War II scenario, this hellhole would have been like. And yeah, it's fucking, God, it was really good. And also in the movie, I was talking about this earlier, and this is what I wanted to mention about scenes where they just let it breathe and they let it just have a moment. They really let it have a moment when these guys, there's like a scene where they go to a church. It's after a battle and these guys have seen just so much death and so much violence, and they end up sleeping in this church, and they're all just talking and hanging out. I don't even really remember what they talk about. They're just talking about other guys they used to be in the army with, maybe guys that had died, but they're laughing, and they're just fucking, you can hear the bombs in the distance blowing up and gunfire, and it's distant, far enough where they're safe, and they know they can rest, but they're so used to this situation they're in. They're so numb to it, but they're trying to find a little bit of levity just talking to each other and trying to feel good for the moment. And Tom Hanks' character is the captain. He kind of goes around from guy to guy and he talks to him and checks in on everybody. It's very paternal, very fatherly in the moment. And, he never answers straight questions when people ask him. He's very private about his own life because I think like this beat showed like not only like you can get away from the war for a little bit, but how everybody is struggling with the war. They're carrying the weight of all the death and violence they've seen. It's just masterfully acted. That's another thing I'll say. All these actors, it was such a good group of actors, all the hottest indie people, all the people that were just on the cusp of like mega success that have independent success today on their own. But they brought these moments, these little moments to life where it's just like, this is like, it just felt like it was happening. It didn't feel like acting. It felt like these are real organic moments. And, there's even moments where it shows some of the characters alone just dealing with like crying or like actually having like, the PTSD moments with all the violence, including Tom Hanks. He was really good in those moments. And, there's even moments where they're just listening to music and one guy's translating the lyrics to a French song while they're waiting for this like tank battle to begin. They don't know when, but they're hanging out and they're just smoking cigarettes and talking and making jokes. And the humor is so organic. It feels like it's real. It feels like it's just happening. And perhaps it was. Maybe it was just improv off the cuff. of these guys just being so in character and so in depth on this project that's, I guess the place they've gotten to where they are these people. That's how it felt when they, in the movie, like when you watch it, you're like, these guys feel like they're really these characters. Like they're really there. They've really been through all this shit. And I don't know. It's definitely one of Spielberg's masterpieces. I've seen, obviously, if not all of his work, most of it. I think most people have. And there's going to be the movies I haven't seen, the deep cuts, sure. But it's just crazy to see somebody who has so many hit movies. We were talking about it. We're like, War of the Worlds, Jurassic Park, Minority Report. I think he directed that fucking artificial intelligence movie, Schindler's List. Somebody named E.T., Close Encounters. The guy is a hit maker. I saw he has that trailer for that new movie. What's it called? Disclosure Day. It looked fucking great. He's pretty much just a hit maker. And like to have so many hits is what I'm saying. And it's no secret Steven Spielberg's a fucking hit maker, but I'm saying to have so many good movies, fucking Jaws. He has a fucking catalog of films, whatever you want to call it, a discography or filmography rather, that is so good. I mean, great, one of the greatest of all time, truly. And Saving Private Ryan is just another masterpiece in his stack of hits. Also, maybe Jurassic Park, Lost World. Didn't even think of that, but he directed both. He's just fucking. He's a hit maker. You cannot ignore that his like sheer success is nothing short of his sheer genius. Like he is truly a master behind the camera. You know what? Fucking another one. We just watched Catch Me If You Can the other night with Leo. We're gonna watch The Terminal. He's made so many good films. I could go on and on praising him. I'm not gonna fucking kiss the guy's ass, but I'm just saying he is a true master of his craft, and it's unbelievable. I don't know how I didn't mention these, but like the first 4 Indiana Jones movies, come on, it all speaks for itself. And he'll be dearly missed when he's gone because, dude, like this movie was so good. It was so above average. And like this goes back on the whole. Let's just say this: Saving Private Ryan. When you're watching it, you can feel the greatness. It is a truly great film. We just watched a real estate video where the guy was like touring a house and had a home theater, and he's like, we're not going to watch Gladiator or Saving Private Ryan today, but I bet you this sound system would be incredible. It's like, it's so popular and so big that it's even still referenced today as a point of reference for like your sound system. Like, if it could handle Saving Private Ryan, it's probably fucking amazing, right? It holds up, culturally significant, and timeless. And I think that's also part of the reason that Spielberg will, go down as obviously one of the greatest of all time. Yeah, and we're going to watch some other Spielberg movies this week. Christine hasn't seen some of them. It's always good to revisit. I mean, even revisiting Saving Private Ryan, like this time around, it was just like, I felt like the older I get, the more I'm like seeing things that I haven't seen. Like when the first time I watched that movie, I was a fucking kid. I was probably 11 or 12, young, but, and I thought, wow, like this is crazy. This is action sequence, like fucking war is scary, right? The guns are cool, kind of shit like that. I was already into World War II like most kids. And like, as an adult watching it, I just see it like through different eyes. Like I was like, holy shit. Like, and I watched this movie throughout the years. I don't watch it every fucking month, but you know what I mean? Like, yeah, every couple of years you throw it on. And this time it'd been a minute. And it was like, I could just really appreciate the emotional depth. It was just fucking well done. Really well done. But anyways, yeah, Saving Private Ryan, 10 out of 10. I think it won 5 Oscars, Best Director for Spielberg. And then a lot of the other stuff was like effects or, God, what else? Not screenplay, I don't think, which I mean, the screenplay was phenomenal. But yeah, sound, editing, shit like that. Cinematography may have been in, having its hat in the ring as well. But yeah, one of the best movies, period. I'd say it's one of those movies that makes all the lists that you're like, yeah, like Saving Private Ryan, it kind of gets thrown around, but when you watch it and really appreciate it, it holds up to this day. Anyways, I'm going to be staying focused on writing, trying to get this next movie off the ground. I think I might go out and shoot this short film this week with Stevie if he's feeling up to it. And the weather's been good. It's been fucking insane in California. It's been like summer already. It's been quite nice actually. But yeah, I might crack out the camera, get the red Komodo out. Maybe the Sony, but I think I'm going to do red Komodo. I think it's time to shoot with the big boy. Get out there and do a little short and try and have something I can put out. Like I said, something that I can not only edit and like have another short film. Here's the deal. I just love doing it anyway. So like having another film done, it just feels good. It's momentum. Every time you finish a project, like, fuck yeah. Like I knew I could do it, but here I am doing it again. Like I'll even say this, like I've talked about this before, but like Sinner, which is not on YouTube right now, but I'll get it back up somewhere. It just had a copyright claim on one of the songs. Like Sinner, we went out and shot it in one night, edited it in one night, tuned it up over the next 2 or 3 days, and it was done. And it's just like action over everything. You want a short film, go out and fucking shoot it and just start editing and start putting it together, and you will have a short film done. Boom, you're a director, you're a filmmaker. Congratulations, you're now in the club, right? And you just keep building on that and keep building on that. In between shooting the feature, while I'm writing scripts and everything else, these short films are extremely important because I get to keep my, skills tuned up. I get to keep fucking chipping away at just editing and keeping all my skills like, super fucking tuned up and frosty. Cinematography wise, it's good to stay like with the gear and keep operating, getting better and trying new things because experience is the greatest teacher. And when you know how to do something because you've learned from failure or experience, it makes it so much easier the next time you go out to shoot something. Like anytime I go out to shoot now, the stress level is 100 times less than it was the first night of shooting like Peninsula Nights. And like I'd shot plenty of shit before P Nights, but like shooting a feature and feeling the weight of the feature on the line and like we really got to finish this film and get this scene and shooting in public, it's important that you just stay sharpening the blade. Keep working. Don't wait too long to go out and do something. Just go fucking do it. Just go out and try and fuck up and fail and enjoy it. And I'm going to enjoy going out and filming this thing. I know I'm going to make mistakes or have to fucking, solve problems while I'm out there, but that's the fun of it. And it makes you better. And that's what makes you learn how to be the best filmmaker you can be. You always fail up in this field, in my opinion. You never fail backwards. And that's the thing. Continue to try. You can strike out 100 times and then, maybe hit a home run. And I'm not even saying like you're swinging for success here, but even for personal success, if you're feeling like, well, I don't know if I could do that or I shouldn't try, you don't know till you do. And you just got to go out and try. So for all the, young filmmakers or people listening for like more like film advice and shit, I'd say like, just continue to do it and just start doing it. Don't wait, And I say that all the time, but like, I know even like when going out and shooting this next short, it'll just like kick momentum back in because it's addicting too. You get addicted to the results. You're like, well, that footage was from like a week ago. We got to see our newest footage. Let's go out and get some new shit. And like it just becomes satisfying. It becomes routine. And then those routines become the building blocks for when you're actually shooting a project. You're just like, hey, like it's not a big deal. Let's just get the camera built. Let's go shoot. Let's shoot. Let's shoot. Let's shoot. And by the end of it, you got your project done. So anyways, I'll leave you with that. Go check out LUTdepot.com. I'm going to shamelessly promote it on here. It's $15.99 a month. Check it out. We got hundreds of LUTs. I use it to color the podcast every week. I love it. It's probably my favorite fucking, company I've started. And a lot of the LUTs I've personally made myself. So you're getting the same color I use to color all of my shit. And I think it's honestly probably the best bang for your buck. There's tons of competitors out there. You can get your LUTs anywhere, but you can't get it for this price and this quality. So anyways, leave you with that. Anyways, I'm looking forward to like shooting, like I said, and getting some new content made, new short film, shooting with Stevie, getting the band back together to rock and roll. Anyways, guys, I think that's all I got. I'm Devin Thomas, and this is another episode of Unscripted. I'll talk to you all next week.